Hey, Fight fans, it's MICHELLEJOYPHELPS, and I'm joined now with none other than Dom Ingle. Dom, how are you doing?
How are you? I'm good. I'm good.
I'm good. Do you know what I just realized? My microphone's crooked.
It is actually, yeah. I wonder why that is.
It's like weird. Isn't that strange, isn't it?
Strange.
Anyways, we're here at the BT Sports Studios where Billy Joe just announced that he has moved up to super middleweight. Let's talk about the conversations you must have.
Oh, down as the case may be.
Huh? Or down?
Yeah, down. Down.
Depends on how you're looking at it, huh?
It depends.
Yeah. Let's talk about the conversations you guys had in making this decision.
The conversation went like this. Dominic, I'm fighting for the super middleweight world title. And the answer was, good, Bill. That's how the conversation went. There was no discussion about it. It was, Billy was telling me what he was doing. But, you know, to be honest, it was a good move. You know, he's boxed at middleweight. It's always a struggle to get down to that weight. And in the time frame that we've got, even though he's been in camp all year, it's a good step because when he gets in the ring, he fights at, you know, he weighs in at 11.6 in middleweight. He fights around about 12.5, 12.6. So it's a good move because he'll still have the speed and the footwork at that weight, but he'll have a bit more added power. The guy's boxing, you know, he's basic, he's tough, and if Billy can win that fight, it opens up opportunities maybe for bigger fights, maybe Callum Smith.
I was just going to say, Isfat Isufi, if I'm saying that correctly,
yeah.
Okay, ranked number 1 by the WBO. What do you know of him thus far?
Do you know what? I only watched him the other day. He's just a typical, you know, Eastern European fighter. Keeps his hands up tough, you know, walks forward. I think Billy will have too much movement for him, but you can't underestimate these guys. You know, he might carry power in both hands. I don't know. I'll have to have a look more of him. But from this moment in time, it looks like a good fight on paper. It looks like a fight that Billy can win. And like I say, we're not looking past him. It just opens up for bigger fights. And once he's got to that weight and got motivated, because he does need, well, you know, he's going from one world title fight to another. That's the type of fights he actually needs to motivate him to do these things. And there's probably then the possibility, if the fight's there, to move back down to middleweight because he can box between them. But you know, it's difficult once you've boxed at super middleweight to get back down. It's mentally hard to do. It's hard for Bill to do it. But I think, you know, speaking to him of late and the way he's training, anything's possible.
2018 was a bit of an up and down year, not only for Billy but also for the gym. You know, there was a lot of I guess fights that just didn't manifest, unfortunately. So now we're looking at a great start to 2019. Not only Billy Joe is going to be obviously challenging for the WBO title, but also you got Kid Galahad for the IBF title with Josh Warrington. An exciting time for you, I would imagine.
It's funny that you should say ups and downs because I never see the ups. I never see the downs. And so
I like that positivity.
Yes, I don't know. We'll have to have a talk about that later, what you thought the downs were. You know, that's boxing. It's standard that boxing's like that. So for me, it's normal. But yeah, Kid Galahad against Warrington's a good fight. On paper, it looks like a 70-30 fight in favour of Warrington. But, you know, Josh Warrington knows it's a 50-50 fight in his head. He's sparred Barry, he's fought Barry. And it's probably not a fight he wants. He wants to be fighting the bigger names and unifying the divisions, probably the Valdezes and maybe the other guys in America. And, you know, it's like, you know, really Barry's a bit of mud on his shoe in that he's got to get rid of. And sometimes that's the hardest thing. There's another word I could have used, but I've used mud. And, you know, when you get something in the shoe that you don't want, and you're trying to rub it in the grass, well, you know, I think that's how Warrington sees Barry, and it's going to be a bit of a thorn in his side. So I think, you know, it's going to be a tough fight mentally for Warrington because he's thinking in his mind, he's stepping down levels when he should be actually moving on in different directions. He needs the bigger fights now. And now he's the champ, he's at home, you know, having his feet up, he's got his kids and his family around him. You've got to get something, you know, to motivate you to, like, put everything on the line. And I don't think really Barry or Kid Galahad motivates him that much. He's looking in a different direction. So it's going to be interesting, and I think Galahad's got the beating of him. It's going to be an interesting fight. We'll see.
Now, Josh Warrington made some pretty strong comments about Kid Galahad, and he actually said that he just doesn't feel that he's basically earned his stripes to get to this point. You know better than anybody because you've been alongside Barry's side forever. What do you have to say to that?
It's not really for Josh Warrington to say, is it? Just in the same measure that I think when he boxed Frampton or he boxed Lee Selby, he came through the route of getting himself into the mandatory position in the IBF, and whether Lee Selby thought he deserved it or not wasn't the case, was it? It's whether, you know, they did or they didn't. So it doesn't really matter to me what Josh Warrington thinks. It's what the IBF thinks, and Barry's got himself into that position. Therefore, you've got to fight him. If you don't want to fight him, give up the title, move somewhere else. We don't want him to give up the title because it's a big payday for Barry. It's the name he wants. It's going to motivate Barry even more. You know, I think if Barry had the option Barry said, I just hope he doesn't throw this title. And that's the guy I want to beat. I don't want to beat some kid for a vacant title. I want to beat a champion. And Josh Warrington's been in that position himself. It's always a different viewpoint when you're on the top of the hill looking down at everybody coming up.
Yeah,
and when you're looking up, and you're hungry like Galahad is, Josh Warrington's going to have it all on to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not really interested in what Josh has got to say. He's a good fighter. He's got a team around him, but I think Galahad's got the beating of him, and we'll see on the night.
And unfortunate news, Nicola Adams is out injured. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, we've got to look after the women, haven't we, in the game?
Yeah,
She's got a bit of an injury, and she's a good fighter, quality. She trains hard. She's overworked her shoulder, and she probably could go in that fight in a couple of weeks' time and win. But you can't take the chance. She's 34 now. She's a top fighter. High quality, and you can't take chances. Maybe if she was below 30 and a bit younger, you could think, well, we'll risk it. But you can't take any risk with Nicola. You've got to make sure, where she's at and the career she's had, that everything is absolutely, perfect when she steps in the ring, and that's it. And fair play to her. She said to me, look, it's niggling me this. I'm not going to be able to get the shots off that I need to get off. And I said, no problem. We'll speak to Frank and we'll rearrange it.
Tell me a bit about the victory this past weekend with Yevs.
Well, Eves. That's
Keep saying Yevs.
Yeah, it's okay. But Eves Ngaboo, good guy, came to me. He's had a year of inactivity.
He looks like a beast.
He is a beast. You know what? He's a monster. And he spotted Billy Joe Saunders, and I think he got a bit of an eye opener with Billy, thinking, well, this guy's a middleweight and I'm a cruiserweight. And he came and he said, I've got a lot to learn. And Billy was careful. One shot and he could have laid anybody out. But he came to Sheffield for 12 weeks, put in a great camp. He's living with Jason Quigley. He gets on with everybody. Nice guy, lovely guy. Trains hard, and he was in a tough fight. He boxed Mickey Nielsen, 25, 15 stoppages. Comes from a famous boxing family in Denmark. It was a 50-50 fight, and he put everything into practice what he did in the gym. It was a tough fight, and he'd never done 12 rounds before. I think he'd never done 8, and he kept coming back. I think I came back after the 10th and said, Coach, I'm tired. I went, you'll be all right. And he just kept stepping up. It was a good fight to watch. It could have been on paper it could have gone either way, but he won it comfortably in a tough fight. And any time he took his foot off the gas, Nielsen was on him, and luckily the training he did, the way he picked up everything, got him through the fight, and he put in a great performance. So that's going to open up bigger fights for him.
Tom, you guys have such good energy in the gym. Everyone seems to get along. Everyone has bants, as you guys call it. Has there ever been a time where you had to turn someone away and say, I can't have that in my gym?
What happens is most them type of guys, they come for a while and they just can't handle the situation. So they more take themselves out of the equation, if you know what I mean. Because everybody, if you can't take a good winding up in that gym, then you're not gonna survive. So that's the measure. That's the measure of you. So I think people more or less take themselves out of the equation. I've never really had to turn anybody away. You either fall in and play the game with everybody.
Everyone's got to spar to be joined.
Everybody's got to, and the thing is, if they can pick up on, somebody being like that, then they're going to get hassled all the way through. And Galahad and Billy and Liam, they're going to wind you up to the max, and you're just not going to be able to handle that.
What's funny is all of my cameramen have basically had to get into the ring and spar someone or take a mean shot. So he hasn't done it yet, but he will be hazed at some point.
So what we'll do is, looking at him, we'll put him in with Nicola Adams. Do you understand? And that's going to even be more of an insult because that's a girl beating you up. You see, so that's what we're going to do. Next time he comes to the, you want an interview, the criteria is that this guy has to spar Nicola Adams.
All right, there you go.
And you've got to film it.
I will.
Yeah, and we'll even give Nicola big gloves. Yep. No egg guard. He can have the full body arm or whatever he wants. And if he can get through 2 rounds with Nicola Adams, then he can have exclusives all day long for your channel.
There you go. That's the hazing. Everyone's got to go through it.
And if he fails, you're going to have to give him the psych.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot of pressure right there. All right. Well, Dom, thank you so much for your time. I always love catching up with you guys. Any final words? Anything else you want to say?
No, but you might have to straighten that microphone up.
Seriously, I really need to. I don't even know. How does a microphone even bend like this?
I have no idea. I've got some. Well, I have got some ideas, but I'm not going to mention it on camera.
Shut up! All right, guys. Bye, Fight fans. Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do so by clicking this icon right here, or else